What makes a rental property uninhabitable in Florida? In Florida's competitive rental market, the line between a livable home and an uninhabitable one carries serious legal and financial consequences. For landlords, understanding when a property crosses that threshold is essential to protecting rental income and avoiding disputes. For tenants, habitability standards define when a home is legally fit for occupancy. As housing demand remains strong in areas like Pinellas County, habitability questions are appearing more frequently in lease disagreements, inspections, and court filings. At its core, habitability is about safety, health, and basic functionality. When those elements break down, a rental property can quickly become uninhabitable under Florida law. How Florida defines an uninhabitable rental. Florida law does not rely on a single checklist to define habitability. Instead, it focuses on whether a rental meets basic living standards required for human occupancy. A property is considered uninhabitable when conditions materially affect a tenant's health or safety or prevent normal use of the home. This standard applies regardless of rent price or property age. Even older homes in Pinellas County must meet minimum living requirements to remain legally rentable. Lack of essential utilities. One of the clearest indicators of an uninhabitable rental is the loss of essential services. Running water, hot water, electricity, and functioning plumbing are considered basic necessities. If a rental lacks these services for an extended period, it may be deemed uninhabitable. In Florida's climate, prolonged loss of power or water can quickly escalate into a health concern, particularly during summer months or severe weather events. Serious structural or safety hazards. Structural issues that pose a safety risk often place a property firmly in uninhabitable territory. These include unstable floors, collapsing ceilings, unsafe stairways, or compromised roofs. In coastal areas like Pinellas County, storm damage is a common trigger for habitability concerns, especially when repairs are delayed. Fire hazards also fall into this category. Exposed wiring, non-functional smoke detectors, or blocked exits can result in immediate enforcement action. Severe plumbing, sewer, or sanitation problems. Plumbing failures that cause sewage backups, flooding, or persistent leaks may render a unit unfit for occupancy. Sanitation issues such as non-working toilets or the inability to dispose of waste properly can also qualify. These conditions are especially common in older Florida rental properties where aging pipes and outdated systems are more prone to failure. Mold and indoor air quality issues. Mold remains one of the most frequently cited habitability complaints in Florida. While not every instance of mold makes a property uninhabitable, widespread growth or mold linked to moisture intrusion can pose health risks. In Pinellas County, high humidity and frequent rain increase the likelihood of mold problems, particularly when ventilation or repairs are inadequate. Pest infestations that threaten health. Occasional pests are not unusual in Florida, but severe infestations can cross into habitability concerns. Rodents, roaches, or other pests that create unsanitary conditions or health risks may render a rental unlivable if not addressed promptly. Local code enforcement often becomes involved when infestations are ongoing and untreated. To meet local building or health codes. A rental property that violates building, housing, or health codes may be deemed uninhabitable, even if the issues seem minor at first glance. Code violations related to electrical systems, fire safety, or structural integrity often carry habitability implications. In Pinellas County, municipalities actively enforce local codes, particularly in older neighborhoods with high rental density. When habitability disputes arise. Disputes often emerge when tenants believe conditions justify withholding rent or terminating a lease, while landlords view the issues as routine maintenance. Florida law generally requires tenants to provide written notice and allow time for repairs, but unresolved habitability issues can weaken a landlord's legal position. Clear documentation and prompt response are critical in preventing disputes from escalating. Why habitability matters to property owners. Habitability is not just a legal concept. It affects tenant retention, property value, and long-term operating costs. Rentals that fall into disrepair often experience higher turnover, longer vacancies, and increased enforcement scrutiny. Landlords who proactively maintain properties tend to avoid the legal and financial strain associated with habitability claims. Conclusion. A rental property becomes uninhabitable in Florida when conditions compromise safety, health, or basic living functions. While the standards are not always defined by a single rule, the underlying principle is consistent. Tenants must have a safe and functional place to live. For landlords in Pinellas County and across Florida, understanding habitability expectations is essential. Prompt maintenance, code compliance, and clear communication remain the most effective tools for preventing disputes and protecting rental investments.